When there was just a man seeking to maintain himself, his only tools were his hands and arms, the tools of an animal, minimum equipment for the procurement of food, clothing, and shelter. But unlike animals, man had the ability to reason. He could look beyond the immediate needs of that day and devise the productive tools for a better tomorrow. Then he was on his way, toward tools for the production of tools, toward tools for the tireless operation of tools, toward tools for the faultless control of tools, toward today, the finest and biggest cumulative investment of man's productive time since time began. In the remarkable picture of today, we can see the promise of incredible tomorrows. We stand on the threshold of a world in which machines will become the true servants of mankind, exerting themselves, guiding, watching, supplying themselves, controlling, measuring, and judging their own and each other's works. Thus, machines are being teamed up with machines. We see them receiving raw materials, processing them with inhuman speed and agility, emitting flawless packaged goods. The day is near. The day when man's great investment in the tools of production will begin to pay dividends so great that man will never again have to worry about having the material things of life.
Oh, come. Such ridiculous balderdash. And you were doing right well for a while.
Now, wait a minute, sir. I am the narrator. What are you doing here? This is a modern story.
Me? Allow me to introduce myself. I am an interpreter of the past, a judge of the future, a prophet, if you will. As for what I am doing in this picture, I am here because I have been called, or will be called soon. I can't predict things to the second, you know.
You have been called? My dear sir, why should anyone
have called me? Why, to revise your picture. You're going to encounter a lot of trouble because of your meager investment in the tools of my trade.
Meager investment in tools? Well, what do you call all this? Do you realize how many millions of dollars have gone into this superbly functioning instrument of production?
I certainly do, but I was referring to the tools of my trade. The machine has become a gigantic investment. You said so yourself. But it's a blind, dumb giant, and it takes many human skills and a lot of ingenuity to keep it functioning superbly. The bigger it gets, the greater the vision that is needed to guide it. The tools of prophecy are indispensable here. The tools of analysis, forecast, control. Without them...
We know all that. I was just going to get to that before your ridiculous interruption. Now, if you please. The machinery of production has grown to the point where it can no longer be altered from its course on the spur of the moment, quickly and cheaply converted to the making of more or less, or of something new and different. What it produces today, it is producing for the future, according to plans conceived and made in the past. So it has clearly become the productive function of man not so much to make objects, which the machine now makes for him, as to make plans for the machine, to anticipate and influence events to come. Tomorrow's sales, tomorrow's markets, tomorrow's designs, tomorrow's methods, tomorrow's purchases, tomorrow's production. No mere man has enough vision to analyze, forecast, and control the proper courses for the machine without the proper tools. And so men who have never held a hoe, a needle, or a hammer are nevertheless today productively engaged with our future supplies of food, clothing, and shelter through the use of the pen and pencil, drafting machine, computers, calculators for sales, financial and production planning and control. Out of the raw materials of prophecy, the records of the past, they fashion the charts and schedules which successfully...
Does it really say that there?
Well, certainly. I told you we know all about the need for your type of thing.
Sales, financial, and production control, huh? Oh, haven't you forgotten something?
Sir, this copy has been checked for accuracy and completeness.
Well, maybe they forgot something.
Forgot what? Purchasing to supply the machine? Sales to distribute the products? And production control to govern what and how much it produces? And that's it. Oh, why don't you go away?
Doesn't it say anything in there about maintenance? Now, that takes all sorts of tools, too.
Yes, it does, and we have them. Not only the tools of maintenance, but men skilled in practically all fields of technology who know how to use them. But I don't see what that has to do with the picture of progress. The problem of maintenance is an old, familiar one, which has been with us since the beginning of the machine itself. Machinery, unfortunately, will always wear out unless it receives care and renewal. Everyone knows that. No one is particularly proud of the fact.
When?
When what, sir?
When anything. When will it wear out? When do your maintenance men do their maintenance work?
Why, continually, of course.
Oh, wasteful over maintenance, huh?
Well, no, I mean when maintenance is needed.
When is it needed?
Why, when something
breaks down? Oh, wasteful under maintenance, is that it?
Well, no, when it can be seen that, Sir, what are you driving at?
I am simply making sure that I have come to the right place. This is it, I see. The place with the missing tools.
Missing tools? And what, may I ask, are these missing tools? Just what are you selling, sir?
Vision. No mere man has vision enough to analyze, forecast, and control the proper courses to be taken for the machine without the proper tools.
I just said that.
Practically that. It's a pity that you didn't listen to yourself. Where are your tools for anticipating the needs of maintenance? For plotting and scheduling in advance? Such things as the purchase of routine renewal parts and major spares. The cycling of routine care. Scheduling overhauls of critical equipment. The reduction of breakdowns. And keeping downtime to a minimum when a breakdown does occur. You study your markets. You plan your sales and designs far in advance. You search continually for ways to update your production methods. You plan and schedule your material purchases, your financing. Why not maintenance?
Those others are activities leading to profit. The better we plan them, the better we profit. Now, it says here, maintenance is an expense, a drag on progress. Things have always worn out. But that is no reason to overburden an already large investment with... Well, now what are you gawking around for?
Oh, I was just wondering where it will happen. It seems to be a little late, but it'll come.
What will come?
Why, the signal for me to take over the picture. I told you why I was here. I knew it.
Well, something is broken down. That can be fixed.
Well, certainly. Anything can be fixed. In time.
Well, it's a relatively small thing.
Small?
Yes.
Oh, perhaps. But how big is the thing of which it is a part? How complex will be the job of restoration? What skills are needed? What component parts of this dead thing will need renewal? How long must this postponement of progress last? Minutes or hours? Or days? Will it disrupt plans? Will it generate problems that can ill be afforded? Will it reach out to chill the spirits of the workers, of the customers, of the investors? Perhaps you had better let me take the picture now.
Where are we going? What's happened?
Well, your picture is broken down. And now we are going to see mine, which is about breakdowns and the many factors involved in their total cost. As you can see, the cost of a breakdown involves many more factors than the cost of repair alone. It also includes total downtime cost, which is determined by how many productive units have been down, and by how many hours they have been down, and by how much production has been lost. How much burden and wages have been unearned from each unit, each hour that it was down. This is the way it has always been. Ever since man first began to use tools, then machines, then machine tools. As you pointed out, the problem of maintenance has always been with us. But what you failed to note was that it has grown in urgency. For example, only a short time ago, when each machine stood separately, tended by its man, and performed one operation from material stockpiled beside it to build a stockpile of its own beyond, the faltering and even the failure of any one machine would produce consequences restricted to the output of that machine alone. One stockpile would grow, the other would diminish until the machine had been repaired and put back to work. Other machines, quickly convertible to the same work, might even be present to take up the slack, so that little or no difference would be seen in the total productive results during the period of downtime. In those days, the hourly consequences of a major breakdown would have added up about like this. Unearned wages, $1. Unearned burden, $5. But there would have been no lost production because of the stockpiles and the quick convertibility of other machines to do the same type of work. So the downtime cost per hour, per unit, would have been only $6. If the necessary renewal parts had not been in stock, they would at least have been standard and could have been secured locally within, 2 or 3 hours. The repair would seldom have been a complex one. The average major repair might have taken, let's say 4 hours to complete. Total hours down, 7. Giving us a downtime cost per unit of $42. Assuming that only one unit would be affected in that time, the total downtime cost would be only $42. And let's say that the cost of repair would have been the same as the downtime, $42. And there's your total, $84. Hardly an alarming figure. Only $84 for the total breakdown of an entire productive unit. These then are the figures for a typical situation in early day breakdowns. Now we will move up toward today. As the tools began to move faster and more powerfully, and to acquire interdependence through the media of multiple operations and transfer equipment, the sizes of what could be called separable units of productive capacity grew mightily. And the stockpiles between separable productive units, even where they could truly be said to exist, dwindled until the slack between units might be exhausted in only a few minutes, a few seconds, or in no seconds at all. There is a breakdown. What does it cost? Now here is another set of figures. Wages have gone up. The burden is higher. And now there is lost production to add to the account because there are no duplicate or easily convertible units to throw into the breech. And each unit produces more value per hour. Even conservatively, let's say $1,400. And the cost of downtime per unit per hour becomes $2,000. But we've only begun. Look what comes next. Any breakdown which halted a part of any unit would instantly stop the entire unit. And in very short time, the loss of its stockpile would halt the next unit. And the absence of a place to stockpile its work would halt the previous unit. And the consequences of the breakdown could spread both ways and very rapidly. If the necessary major spares were in stock and the repairs were not too complex, the equipment might again have been put into operation in a very short time, say 10 hours, times $2,000 or $20,000 for the downtime cost per unit. But that's only the beginning. During those 10 hours, the clogging of the flow of work might easily have reached out to halt 6 or more units of production. The cost of repair, too, will have gone up. This is a larger figure, but wishfully small. It assumes a quick repair made because the parts were on hand and ready to install. That the company was prepared to handle this breakdown. Let's say instead that they weren't ready. The cost per hour, per unit, would still be $2,000. And while the hours went by, they'd have to take out the part and then take it somewhere to be fixed, or get a whole new part made, with the supplier working overtime, and probably winding up with the whole thing costing $8,000 and taking 42 hours to accomplish. That multiplies to a total of $84,000. By then, 12 units would have gone out of production. And that $8,000 would have begun to look small. But we'll add it in anyway. There's an interesting thing to notice here in the last two examples. This profit in being prepared. But that's far from the whole story. An effective system, a productive system of maintenance control, not just preventive maintenance, but productive maintenance, provides not only preparation for breakdowns, but also reduction and even prevention of breakdowns. So the true profit to be expected from an investment in the tools of prophecy for the programming of maintenance includes not only the large profit which comes from preparedness, but also the large profits which come from minimizing the downtime resulting from breakdowns. And those profits might accrue over and over again to the users of productive maintenance. In fact, they have. But let's look ahead to tomorrow.
Don't do that, Joe. You don't have to project ahead to the automatic factory. You know, anyone can see from those figures you just had that plans for the future will have to have productive maintenance in order to stay in business. Now, what we're trying to do...
Now, look, aren't you coming out of character a little early? The picture isn't even over yet.
Well, those figures just shocked me back to reality. Isn't that awful? You know, there are factories taking a risk like that right now.
Well, yeah, they're the ones we're after. Well, I guess I better say something to them to close this thing off, huh? Good friends, this wasn't real. It was only a story. I'm not really a prophet, and Bill here isn't really the stuffed shirt that he's made out to be. In fact, we're not even businessmen like you. We're just actors in a movie. The title, you remember, was Revising the Picture. Now, this one may not have been real, but these figures come from reality, from examples that could be yours right now. Your corporate picture is real, and so will be your own arithmetic, whether it comes out larger or smaller than this. Why don't you try it out? If it shows you that any part of your picture needs revising, you better start doing it pretty soon. It may be later than you think.